One is the Flagship, an icon of the seas and the last great ocean liner. She is a vessel that, for over 2 decades, has defined the intersection of luxury, tradition, and maritime history.
The other is the Challenger, a fresh, modern vision, looking as much to the future as the past. She is the new kid on the block, a ship designed to become a legend in her own right.
Queen Mary II and Queen Anne are 2 of the 4 Cunard queens, but despite their shared DNA, they offer 2 distinctly different ways to traverse the globe.
In this film, we're breaking down the areas where they feel like close siblings, and the moments where they feel like entirely different worlds. Having spent more than 100 nights on each vessel, we're going beyond the deck plans, providing a complete guide to the venues, the accommodation, and the soul of each ship.
The reigning monarch versus the modern challenger. This is our definitive verdict. Queen Mary II versus Queen Anne. Welcome to a special feature from Cruising with Millennials.
Before we step on board, let's establish the baseline facts. The numbers tell a very specific story about the evolution of the Cunard fleet over the last 20 years. Queen Mary II debuted in 2004. She carries 2,691 passengers and 1,292 crew across 17 decks. Queen Anne set sail for the first time in 2024. She accommodates 2,996 passengers and 1,225 crew across 13 decks.
When you look at the raw stats, the distinction is clear. Mary is the roomier vessel. She offers a more generous staff-to-guest ratio and significantly more vertical space. Anne has more guests in a smaller ship, which naturally results in a slightly lower ratio of space and staff per guest. But still, compared to some cruise lines, Anne is in no way too packed.
With the baseline established, let's cross the gangway. This is the moment the ship life adrenaline kicks in. But the way each vessel greets you is completely different. Quick note for this film. To help you navigate which ship you are currently looking at on screen, you'll see a small QM2 or QA icon in the corner of the screen throughout.
First things first, no matter which ship you're boarding, being greeted by those classic Cunard bellhops instantly takes the experience to the next level. It's the gold standard of welcomes. Once you step inside, you arrive at the central lobby, the town square of each vessel. On Mary, you're met with wonderful symmetrical staircases. They are unashamedly grand, perfect for photos or for strolling down like a Disney princess.
Anne takes a different path, a single winding staircase that dominates the space, drawing your eye upward in a more modern fluid motion. Just from this first impression, the design DNA starts to diverge. Mary is defined by reds, golds and that deep old world Art Deco weight. Anne is an Art Deco revival, all crisp blues, bright whites and a lighter boutique hotel energy. This brings us to one of the biggest functional differences in the lobby, the Corinthia Lounge.
On Mary, the Corinthia is a massive, dedicated entertainment venue, a destination for live music and performances, and nowhere near the grand lobby. On Anne, the concept has been reimagined as an open-plan coffee bar and snack spot. It's smaller and more integrated into the lobby flow. Almost the ship version of a coffee shop with an outside terrace on land.
In terms of which welcome is better, it's entirely subjective. We love the vertical height and lush red carpets of Mary's Atrium. It conjures feelings of royalty. However, Anne's lobby is also a stunner, feeling more modern and more of a place to flow through.
Once you've taken in the lobby, the next stop is usually home base, your stateroom. This is your private sanctuary, the place to drop the bags, kick off your shoes, and check out the view for the days ahead. Now, to be fair, we aren't comparing exactly like for like here, but we're close. On our recent trip on Mary, we were in a sheltered balcony. On Anne, we were in a club balcony.
When it comes to the balcony experience itself, it's honestly no contest. A proper open balcony on Anne is the dream. Waking up to panoramic views of the ocean or an iconic port is pure bucket list territory. On Mary, those sheltered balconies are built directly into the hull. While they offer great protection in the North Atlantic, your view is essentially a letterbox. Unless you're docked in a deep fjord or a mountain valley, you can't see much more than the sky.
As for the rooms themselves, this is where Anne's 20-year age advantage really shows. The bathrooms are a massive upgrade, featuring a proper glass shower cubicle instead of those dated 1970s style shower curtains you'll still find on Mary.
Then there's the tech. Anne is built for the modern traveller, with plenty of USB ports and intuitive charging spots. Mary, on the other hand, still relies on a low-resolution linear TV service that feels like a throwback to another era. In the department of room comfort, connectivity and on-demand entertainment, there really is no comparison. With Anne taking an easy win in the staterooms, it's time to head to a category where Mary usually ends the conversation: the Promenade Deck. On Queen Anne, referring to Deck 3 as the Promenade feels slightly disingenuous. While it's the closest she has to one, in truth, it's a lovely walking track. It's narrow in places and often tucked behind lifeboats and other obstacles. We used it a lot to rack up steps after overindulging in the restaurants, but it feels like a place to exercise rather than a place to be. This is in stark contrast to the magnificent promenade on Deck 7 of Mary.
This isn't just a deck, it's a space that makes the entire journey feel special. Those wide, sweeping teak decks, the gorgeous old-school loungers, and the vast, uninterrupted views are untouchable. It's a space with a different rhythm. You can stroll, jog, or simply lie back with a cup of tea. Whether you're watching the horizon or being served mulled wine as you glide through a fjord, it's a space you'll head back to again and again. It is, quite simply, one of our favorite places on any ship in the world.
Now let's look at the main dining spaces, the Britannia Restaurants. Let's be real, both are spectacular, but they create two different moods. Mary's Britannia is a glorious throwback. It feels like you're travelling back to an era where dining was an event, not just a meal. With its dark woods, towering ceiling height, and that massive grand staircase, it captures the 1930s transatlantic energy perfect. It's the kind of space that makes you pull out your phone every single time you enter, just to make sure you never forget it.
And creates a different vibe. It's more akin to a high-end restaurant in a major metropolitan city. It's less about the grandeur and more about mood. You'll find less wood and more modern lighting, with a sleek spiral staircase offering an alternative to the classic look. In its own way, it feels just as special. It's just a different design approach. Which one you prefer is entirely subjective. You can lean into the history or embrace the new.
However, there is a massive difference you need to know about if you're booking Britannia Club. This is where the two ships truly diverge in their philosophy of club dining. On Queen Mary 2, Club is essentially integrated into the main restaurant. While it has its own entrance and a dedicated section, you are still very much part of the main Britannia atmosphere. It's more of a room within a room. On Queen Anne, the Britannia Club is a completely separate restaurant, tucked away just off the main lobby. It's treated as a totally different boutique experience.
There are pros and cons to both. We travel club on Anne's maiden world voyage, and while we love the flexibility and the intimacy of a smaller room, you do miss out on the theatrical sense of event that only the massive main restaurant can deliver. If you ask for our ideal scenario, it would be the best of both worlds. The main Britannia for those spectacular Cunard formal nights, and a separate club restaurant for the more chilled, flexible evenings.
Moving on from the grand halls of the Britannia to the specialised kitchens, we find one of the most definitive wins of this comparison. On Mary, the anchor of speciality dining is the Verandah Steakhouse. It's a stylish, dedicated space that delivers exactly what you want from a premium steakhouse. Incredible cuts of meat, fresh seafood, and those addictive side dishes. While it's tucked away at the rear of the ship, meaning the views through the covered windows are unfortunately limited, the food quality is consistently top notch. Beyond the veranda, Mary offers a rotation of pop-up experiences within a dedicated section of the King's Court buffet. Over the years we've seen everything from Asian at bamboo to Indian at coriander. On our most recent voyage it was Nordley's, a Scandinavian concept where we had a lovely reindeer pie and tender duck. It's delicious, but still feels like a temporary takeover of a buffet space.
When you look at Queen Anne, the culinary game is played on a completely different level. It's not just about numbers, though 4 permanent specialty venues versus Mary's 2 is a big jump. It's about the diversity of the offering. Anne has her own steakhouse, rebranded as Sir Samuel's, which offers a nearly identical, high-quality experience to Mary's Verandah. She also boasts permanent Indian and Mediterranean restaurants in Naranya and Tremonto, which are both solid additions to Anne's food lineup. However, the new, undisputed king of specialty dining on any Cunard ship for us is Aji-Wa. Watching the chef prepare fresh sushi right in front of you, the perfect fluffy tempura, and those melt-in-the-mouth bao buns, it's exceptional.
Couple that with stunning sunset views through the floor-to-ceiling windows, and you have a world-class experience. We visited Aji-Wa at least 10 times during our world voyage. It really is that good. Ultimately, specialty dining is a clear win for Queen Anne. It reflects a shift in what passengers want today. More choice, more permanent venues, and a greater emphasis on dining experience. If you're a foodie, Anne is your ship. Now for a topic that sparks endless debate among Cunarders. A space so quintessentially Cunard that it often dictates which ship a traveller prefers. We are, of course, talking about the Queen's Room. This space is one of the hearts of any Cunard vessel, the stage for afternoon tea, daily lectures, and the home of ballroom dancing. But while they share the same name and programme of activity, the Queen's Room on each ship couldn't be more different. First, let's look at the original on Mary.
It's an architectural masterpiece, vast, wide, and gloriously high. It feels less like a room on the ship and more like a set from a Golden Age Hollywood film. The scale is immense, creating a setting for afternoon tea that is arguably one of the finest in the world, on land or sea. If you want to feel the true vibe of the Cunard legacy, you spend an evening here. It is a unique, bucket list experience for any cruiser.
Anne's iteration is where things get controversial. It is significantly more compact and truthfully feels a bit like a thoroughfare for guests moving between venues. While it's still a beautiful space for a dance or a scone, there are levels to the game. And in terms of pure grandeur, it isn't in the same league as Mary.
However, before we fully condemn Anne's version, we have to point out one massive pro that is particularly relevant to us. The view. We've been promising ourselves for 15 years that we'd learn to ballroom dance, but we haven't managed to get our dancing shoes on and hit a slick tango just yet.
So for us, the Queen's Room is also about the atmosphere, listening to the music, and watching the experts. This is where Anne might actually be better. Her Queen's Room features a mezzanine level that is fantastic for watching the action. You can look down onto the floor and have a great view of the band and the ballroom ninjas doing their thing. On Mary, because the room is so vast and flat, it can actually be quite difficult to see the dancing unless you're right on the edge of the floor. So while it's not the flawless victory traditionalists might claim, it's still a win for Mary. Her Queen's Room is, quite simply, the stuff of maritime legend.
Now let's turn the tables. If Queen Mary II boasts a superior Queen's Room, Queen Anne fires back with a landslide victory in another shared venue, the Pavilion. This is a perfect example of how two spaces can share a name but create completely different roles for passengers. On Queen Anne, the Pavilion is arguably the main hub of the ship. The design utilizes 3 open tiers that create a seamless flow from the pool and cinema screen up to the wellness cafe and out toward the wellness studio. It is a genuine architectural highlight. As you enter Anne's Pavilion, you're met with light and scale. It's a fresh, beautiful area where hot tubs face a massive cinema screen, with lounges surrounding a central pool that actually feels like a place you want to spend your day. The food options here are just as versatile. You can grab a burger, and gelato by the pool, or head up the stairs to a new concept for Cunard, the Wellness Cafe. This was a go-to for us, offering healthy grain bowls, grilled chicken, and freshly made smoothies. But this space is not just for the daytime. On end, the Pavilion is a social heart of the ship, hosting captain's cocktail parties, silent cinema nights, and table tennis tournaments. Or, if you prefer a quieter pace, it's simply a great spot to grab a chair and watch the world drift by through those massive floor-to-ceiling windows.
The Pavilion on Queen Mary 2 is something else entirely, and not in a good way. Truthfully, it has the atmosphere of an old-school community centre pool. You're met with low ceilings, loungers crammed together, and a weirdly unwelcoming vibe. It's one of those rare spaces on Mary where the old-school aesthetic isn't charming or romantic. It just feels tired and a bit sad. While much of Mary is defined by her timelessness, this specific area feels like a relic from a different era of ship design. If the Pavilion is important to your cruise experience, there is no contest. Queen Anne wins this by a mile.
Let's stick with the shared venues and look at a space that is, especially for the British contingent on board, the most important local at sea, the Golden Lion. Both ships feature their own version of this classic pub, serving up draft beers, traditional pub lunches, and one of the most relaxed atmospheres on the ship. One of the most frequent questions we get about sailing with Cunard is the dress code, specifically for the evenings. If the idea of a suit feels a bit much sometimes, the Golden Lion is your sanctuary. It's a relaxed space where the formal code doesn't apply, making it the perfect spot for a low-key night, watching the footy, or getting competitive on the quiz.
On both vessels, the pub has a very specific rhythm. It ebbs and flows depending on the daily programme. When it's quiz time, the space swarms with passengers looking for a seat, and looking to make sure people are not cheating by looking at their mobile phones for answers. In the evenings, it transforms into a great spot for pre-dinner pint or a nightcap after the theatre. While the menu and the British pub vibe are consistent across the fleet, the physical spaces on these two ships are different. On Mary, the Golden Lion is cosy and traditional. It can feel a bit cramped when a big event is on. It's a classic, but you might have to hover for a table. On Anne, the space feels significantly larger. It's as if Cunard looked at the popularity of the pub on Mary and decided to turn it into a true flagship venue. If the pub is your home base for the cruise, Queen Anne offers the same experience, but with way more room in which to enjoy it.
What better way to recover from a Golden Lion-induced hangover, or simply to take your relaxation to another level, than a few hours in the spa? Both ships offer a dedicated sanctuary on board, and while it'll cost you extra for a pass to enter, both promise an escape within an escape. Queen Anne Spa is located forward and low on Deck 1, right next to the gym. In terms of pure hardware, it offers a traditional sauna, a salt sauna, a steam room, an ice room, and rainfall showers, all wrapping around the central thermal pool. It's a clean, functional, and an effective place to detox. Now, you might assume that because Anne is 20 years newer, she takes another easy win here. But let's not be hasty.
Despite her age, Queen Mary 2 Spa is on a completely different level. This is where we talk about the intangibles. Those things you can't measure on a deck plan or flashy PR video. Just look at this space on Mary. The design, the layout and the sheer feeling of quality are untouchable. It's in the way the light hits the tiles, the specific scent of the air and the sheer scale of the sauna. Every sensory detail, the lighting, the sounds, the flow, it feels intentional and timeless. To put it bluntly, Anne's Spa feels like you're in a high-end David Lloyd or Virgin Active. It's premium, but it's recognisable. Mary's Spa feels like you're on Queen Mary 2. It's a perfect example of how a space can be older and yet feel infinitely more special. If you want a clinical detox, go to Anne. If you want a soul-soothing experience that feels like true maritime luxury, it's Mary, every time.
Another escape our queens share is their respective libraries. Both ships have them, and both are beautifully designed destinations. I spend so much of my life in these spaces. I know many of us cherish that quiet atmosphere. The specific light of the ocean, the feeling of the waves passing by, and the luxury of just watching the horizon while lost in a book. I'm so glad that when designing Queen Anne, Cunard didn't decide the library was dispensable. They've created a genuinely great, traditional space on a modern ship. It's bright, chic, and feels like a curated hotel lobby. The choice to once again utilize floor-to-ceiling windows makes it equally enjoyable to rest weary eyes against the horizon. I also spent a lot of time working on my laptop here during our time on board. But let's be real, Queen Mary 2's library is on another level. The sheer scale and breadth of what is available, over 8,000 volumes, makes it a church of books. The feeling of walking through those dark wooden aisles and recessed reading nooks is simply magical. It is the gold standard for a maritime library. However, there is a shadow hanging over this space. Rumors have been swirling for months, but newly updated deck plans for the QM2 2027 refit seem to confirm our fears. The bookshop will be no more. This area not only serves as a unique, quiet bookstore, but it is also part of the library's book return counter. It's details like this that differentiate Anne's reading room from Mary's library. The plan shows that this special little space on Deck 8 is slated to be replaced by a new penthouse suite, which will actually be room number 8000. If that is to be the case, I felt incredibly lucky to experience this space as it was intended one more time. I've been coming here for 15 years, and it still feels as special as the first time. It feels like we are witnessing the optimization of a legend, the slow move toward more cabins and less of the unique spaces that actually gives the ship its soul. It makes this footage more than just a review. It's a tribute to the ship we fell in love with.
Now let's take the elevator, or better yet, the glass elevator on Mary, up to another Cunard staple, the Commodore Club. On both ships, this is the premier front row seat. Located at the very bow and looking directly out over the horizon, it's the place to be if you want to watch the ocean ahead. During the day, it's a serene spot for reading or spotting dolphins playing in the bow wave. In the evening, the atmosphere shifts, the dress code kicks in, The piano or string quartet begins to play, and it transforms into a sophisticated wine bar style retreat. While the purpose is the same, the architectural execution is worlds apart. Mary's Commodore Club is defined by intimacy. It feels like a private maritime study. Deep wood veneers, warm lighting, and windows that are recessed into the hull. It's a beautiful, cosy space that makes you feel protected from the vastness of the Atlantic, while still being right at the heart of the journey. On Queen Anne, the Commodore Club takes the concept and scales it up. Much like the Golden Lion, it feels as though Cunard realised how much people love this venue and decided to go all in. The space is massive, and the windows are even larger. It offers arguably the best, most uninterrupted panoramic views inside the entire ship. It feels less like a cosy study and more like a high-end modern observatory. Our verdict: both are exceptional, but Anne wins on accessibility. Her design allows more people to enjoy those spectacular sweeping views at the same time, without the hovering that sometimes happens on Mary.
If the Commodore Club is the place to relax with a cocktail and piano, the evening entertainment can be turned up a notch with a visit to the theatre. Both ships share the Royal Court Theatre, but the secondary spaces are where the ships truly diverge. On Mary, in addition to the theatre, you also have the massive illuminations. On Anne, her alternative entertainment space is the intimate Bright Lights Society. Now, without meaning to ratchet up the drama, we have some breaking news and a controversial take that might go against the general consensus. We'll let you be the judge.
Entertainment-wise, both Royal Court theatres serve the same core purpose. During the day, they host the Insights Lectures, one of our favourite parts of any Cunard cruise. Depending on the voyage, you can hear from astronauts, sports stars, historians exploring cold cases, or professors explaining dark matter. Every day you have the chance to be genuinely educated or entertained. In the evening, the headline performances take over, usually music, dance or comedy. While the purpose is shared, the physical spaces are very different.
On Anne, the theatre feels modern and functional. With its lower ceilings and sleek layout, it feels like equal parts high-end theatre and luxury cinema. On Mary, it is exactly what you imagine on a legendary liner: ornate, grand, and spectacular. It's not that one is better, they just inhabit different eras of design. On Mary, the sister venue to the theatre is Illuminations. This space hosts lectures by day and becomes a cinema by night. It is also home to one of the most unique, jaw-dropping features ever created for a ship: the world's only planetarium at sea.
Or should we say, was home to the planetarium. The word on the street is that this iconic, one-of-a-kind experience is no more. On our latest cruise to the Norwegian fjords, we noticed tickets were never available and no shows were listed. Our digging suggests this isn't temporary. The planetarium will not return. It's incredibly sad to think that we've lost a piece of Mary's soul. Perhaps some things simply reach an age where repair is no longer possible. But we still have our fingers crossed that it might one day take us back to the stars again.
Over on Anne, we have the Bright Lights Society. This is a brand new concept for Cunard, an intimate venue that feels like a 1920s speakeasy or a cabaret club in Paris or Berlin. We need to separate the venue from the entertainment here. The venue, 10 out of 10. It's gorgeous, intimate, and so beautifully designed. If this was on land, there would be a queue around the block every night. It is totally our jam.
The entertainment is where we might lose some of you. Personally, it just doesn't do it for us. There is nothing chill about it. It's kinda cringe. Maybe it's our irrational fear of being dragged on stage, or maybe it's just that the humour is just not matched with our own. We heard plenty of people loved it and went back for repeats. But for us, no vibe. We're also hearing that since our world voyage, some of these shows now come with an extra cover charge. So clearly the demand is there. Maybe not everyone feels the cringe quite as intensely as we do.
Whether you are wrapping up for a winter transatlantic or reaching for the sunscreen in the Caribbean, it's time to head outside. Both ships feature dedicated pool areas on the aft decks, and both offers that glorious, hypnotic view of the ship's wake, a temporary maritime signature carved into the ocean behind you. On Queen Anne, the center of gravity is Deck 9, the Panorama Pool Club. This is a fantastic, high-energy space featuring our large pool, perfect for morning laps, and 2 hot tubs for taking in the vista. This area is a genuine social hub, blending live music and DJs with a sophisticated bar and lounger setup. As you move up to decks 10 and 11, the views only get better, eventually revealing a bar positioned right around that iconic Cunard red funnel. It is quite the sight.
While naturally a little more dated in its styling, Mary takes the hardware to another level. The way Mary handles her aft space is a masterclass in ocean liner design. First of all, the layout. You have a great pool and hot tub on deck 6, but then you move up to deck 7, where you find yourself back on that iconic promenade, looking down over the water. Keep heading up and one deck further reveals another full pool and more hot tubs on deck 8, alongside the terrace bar and a mix of open and undercover seating.
Both areas are excellent, but Mary's 3-tiered approach simply offers more swimming and hot tub capacity. While Anne wins on the modern soundtrack and that chic beach club feel, she can't quite compete with the sheer volume of space on Mary. When you factor in that iconic promenade is woven into the mix, Mary takes the victory here. She offers a sense of ocean liner scale that Anne's more compact, modern footprint just can't replicate.
As we move to the topmost decks, both ships offer expansive outdoor spaces designed for one of two things: soaking in the views or burning off the buffet. On Queen Anne, a standout favourite for us was the Sky Bar. Located on deck 14, this is a stunning multi-purpose bar that offers some of the most uninhibited views on the ship. It's the perfect spot to contrast those mesmerising aft panoramas we saw earlier, giving you a front row seat to whatever horizon you're chasing. Around the upper decks, Anne leans heavily into the active lifestyle with a range of modern games. Thanks to an exclusive partnership with Picketball England, Anne features a dedicated court for the sport. In a genuine world first, Anne also has partnered with Archery GB. You can actually master a real bow and arrow with accredited coaching while looking out over the ocean. You'll still find the classics, putting greens and giant chess sets that define the leisure life on board.
Queen Mary too is equally well matched in this department, though she stays truer to the ocean liner tradition. You'll find her own range of games, including the classic shuffleboard and golf driving nets tucked away in the sports center on deck 13. These spaces are beautifully multi-purpose, allowing you to be as active or as relaxed as the North Atlantic weather permits. Ultimately, the two ships are remarkably evenly matched here. Whether you're swinging a golf club on Mary or firing an arrow on Anne, the upper decks remain the best place to feel the scale of the vessel.
But let's be honest, this is all probably just a holding pattern. If current trends continue, it's only a matter of time before the entire Cunard fleet is converted into 500 paddle courts instead. For those who have sailed either ship, you're likely wondering when we tackle the big one, the buffet. Whether it's a quick breakfast or midnight snack, these are the dining and social hubs of the vessel. It's time to dive into the chaos and the very real differences between them. First, let's talk about the undisputed king of chaos, King's Court on Mary. It's a sprawling, high-energy space that is perennially packed. In all fairness, the food is great, but the layout is a challenge. Navigating narrow doorways while balancing a hot cup of tea and plate of English breakfast is a high-stakes sport on Mary. It feels a bit like demand might have outgrown the original design here.
Now, we're sharing this with viewers of this video only, so let's keep it between us. At the far end of King's Court, you'll find an absolute gem of the ship, Chef's Galley. This is a sit-down, made-to-order experience within the buffet. You have your order taken and your food is prepared right in front of you. The fresh pizza and pasta are exceptional, and the lunchtime burgers and hot dogs are also great. Because the food hits your table 30 seconds after leaving the pan, it feels a level above the standard buffet fare.
Crucially, this is also a relaxed dress code space. If you've just done 20,000 steps on an excursion and can't face the shirt and tie requirement of the main dining room, this is another dining sanctuary. Queen Anne's Artisans Food Hall is a natural evolution and in many ways a major upgrade. As the name implies, it moves away from the canteen feel and towards a modern food hall concept with dedicated, curated stations. The design is fresh and the floor is infinitely easier to navigate than Mary's Labyrinth. You still get the fresh, made-to-order pasta and pizza, but it's integrated seamlessly into the main space.
The biggest win here? The views. On end, you have massive floor-to-ceiling windows that make the ocean part of your meal. On Mary, you're often hovering for a window seat that feels a bit more letterbox. Our verdict: on pure design and ease of use, this should be a clear win for Anne. However, our deep love for the intimacy and quality of Mary's Chef Galley means we're declaring this a controversial score draw.
Another stylish social hub these ships share is the chart room, but like many of the venues so far, they inhabit two completely different moods despite sharing the same name. On Queen Mary 2, the space is light and the vibe is social. During the day, it's a bright, airy spot for a coffee or for catching up on work with a laptop. In the evening, it transforms into a bustling hub for cocktails and live jazz. On Anne, the chat room takes a turn towards the stylish. It's darker, more bling, and has much more distinct nightlife feel. It's less of a daytime lounge and more of a sophisticated, celestial themed bar that draws you in more and more as the sun goes down.
This brings us to a major philosophical difference in how these ships are designed to be used. On Queen Anne, The chat room, the Corinthia lounge, and the art gallery are designed as long, flowing spaces. They are as much a thoroughfare as they are a destination. For example, Queen Anne's Art Gallery. Because it's woven into the main walkways, you experience the art every single day by default. It's accidental discovery at its finest. However, the downside is that if you actually want to stop and appreciate a piece, you can feel like you're blocking the flow of traffic. Mary's Art Gallery, this is a dedicated space. You have to head there with intent. It's wider, features seating, and feels like a true gallery experience where you can linger without being in anyone's way. We see the same shift in the Corinthia lounge. On Anne, it's a modern coffee shop integrated into the lobby flow, perfect for a quick snack or a social check-in. On Mary, the Corinthia is a heavyweight destination. It's huge, it's a hub for quizzes and live music, and it feels like a venue on its own right.
This is the core of the comparison. The way each ship makes you navigate its interiors defines your entire experience. On Anne, it's the mall. It's guided, it's flowing, and it's integrated. You don't have to think about where you're going because the ship effectively streams you towards the next experience. It's all about accidental discovery. On Queen Mary 2, it's the village. It's segmented, traditional, and at times a bit of a challenge. You don't just end up in a venue on Mary, you head there with purpose. It requires purposeful navigation. Think of it this way. Queen Anne guides you through a curated experience, while Queen Mary 2 challenges you to explore a maritime legend. As to which is better, there is no single answer. It depends entirely on whether you want a metropolitan high-energy flow or the romantic destination-driven soul of a classic liner. Before we deliver our final verdict, we have to talk about the soul of these vessels, the intangible quality, the aura. In the end, the passenger counts, the tonnage, and the restaurant covers are all relevant, but they aren't why we travel. They aren't why you choose Cunard, and they certainly aren't why we chose to spend our lives exploring the world by sea.
Queen Anne is a beautiful ship, without question. She is the fine addition to the fleet that offers the best of both worlds. A modern ship with stunning design and world-class food, wrapped in the feeling of history. Don't let the traditionalists tell you she isn't Cunard enough. She absolutely is. The gala nights still feel like an event. Those captain's announcements still hit home. And that iconic red and black funnel means that when you pull into port, you feel special. Even if her silhouette is a little more cookie cutter than her sisters. Traveling on Anne makes you feel like you're part of a new chapter of Cunard history, a new generation of adventurers.
On the other hand, Queen Mary 2 just feels different. When you're on her, you know you are on one of the most important ships in the world. Sure, she creaks a little more than she used to, and some of her design choices are as much annoying as they are romantic. But this is Queen Mary 2. Her aura is simply off the scale. She looks like no other cruise ship because she isn't one. She is an ocean liner.
When she arrives in port, you see people stop and reach for their cameras because they know they are looking at greatness. From the emotional weight of afternoon tea in the Queen's room to the sheer pleasure of a show in her theater, she is a ship that makes you feel. We have yet to step on the vessel that gives us goosebumps as regularly as Mary does. With her, it isn't just about the destination, it is truly about the journey.
So in the end, Queen Anne versus Queen Mary II. Which one do we actually prefer? In a dream scenario, we'd perform a bit of maritime surgery. We'd take Queen Anne's Pavilion, the culinary mastery of Aji-Wa, and those massive stateroom upgrades, and graft them directly onto Queen Mary II. Then we'd take Mary's pure aura, that untouchable Promenade Deck, and the legendary Queen's Room, and move them over to Anne. In that world, you'd have the perfect Queen. But in the real world, you have to choose. Having spent more than 100 nights on each vessel, and having just sailed the fjords on Mary a few weeks ago, we really should be able to make a definitive choice by now. But it's impossible, because the answer is both.
It is a strange phenomenon, but it's the truth of the Cunard experience. When we were slowly crossing the Atlantic on Queen Anne, we found ourselves pining for Queen Mary II. Yet, as we sailed the fjords on Mary, we found ourselves talking about Queen Anne in glowing terms. The truth is, we love them both for entirely different reasons. Your choice depends on what you value most for your own adventure. Are you looking for the high energy, metropolitan evolution of Anne, or the soul-stirring, historical greatness of Mary? Either way, whether you are steaming across the Atlantic, navigating the deep silence of a fjord, or cruising through a sun-drenched archipelago, you are living the dream. Queen Anne and Queen Mary II are both extraordinary. Our advice? Don't get too caught up in the stats. Just soak in the experience, enjoy the journey, and live your own dream.
If you enjoyed this film, please hit the like button and leave us a comment. It helps support the channel. Which ship do you prefer? If you're ready for more Mary, you can check out our full feature film on our recent journey through the Norwegian fjords. Or, for the ultimate long-haul experience, watch our complete feature on our 107-night world voyage on Queen Anne to see how she handles the high seas over 3 months.
And if you'd like to stay closer to the journey between voyages, head to cruisingwithmillennials.com. We'd love to have you on board. In the meantime, thank you for watching. We bid you farewell and we'll see you in the next video.